hot. I'm trying to get on the internet right now.
All right, we are live. I see us on our Facebook page. Thanks everybody for joining in.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday. We have a great show for you today. We have the incredible Rusty Young, who lent his talent to 2 songs on our album, and we're so happy to see him. Hi, Rusty. And the incredible Tish Hinojosa, who I've been hearing about for so long, because Sherry has just sung your praises for so long, Tish, and we're so glad that you're here.
Great to be a part of girls band. I love it.
Yeah. So we're going to be asking them some questions, and then everybody is free to ask their own, and hopefully we'll see them, and we'll be playing the song in a little bit, and we'll be open to hearing what you have to say. Which is this number 8? Is this the 8th song on our album? Is this 8 or 7? It's the 7th one, right?
Oh, well, that's a higher math. Let's see.
8.
It is. Yes, it is the 7th.
7 and then 8 is part of me. You haven't seen this part of me.
Yes. Okay. So
okay, now I see it. Yeah, it just took a while for it to.
The 7th one, right?
oh, somebody's got their.
Somebody needs to turn down their Facebook volume.
Facebook volume, yeah. I got mine down, so.
Not my culpa. Hi, Dennis is in the house. Hey, Billy and Jonathan Mitchell are here. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. Station.
All right.
Hi, Joellen.
Are we getting in?
I think we're all, yeah. Hey, Lucas. Title of the song is In the Real West. So,
the way of life in the real West.
All right, Susanna, you want to open it up? Ask them, go down with some of our questions here.
yeah, I just wanted to, for everybody who's just joining on in, hey, Dennis, just wanted to give everybody a chance to meet. Most of you guys know us, or you know Rusty. Sherry Barnett with the blue chair and the blue guitar is our electric guitarist. Suzanne Morissette Cruz with what looks like a really amazing music collection behind you is drums and vocals. Holly Montgomery has part of a palm tree behind her, but she's not in. Oh, okay, there you go. A different kind of plant is bass and vocals. Aubrey which is in the center there for my screen. Big Miro, blue walls. Rusty Young in the middle. He says iPhone, but we know it's really Rusty. And Tish Hinojosa, the writer of this song, Real West. So we're really happy to have Rusty and Tish join us. Rusty plays the solo on the song, and Tish is the writer. And I thought, should we go ahead and play the song? And then
you want to let a few more people get on?
Yeah, let's wait a few minutes and just get going on the.
Who has some exciting weekend plans lined up?
What?
Who has exciting weekend plans?
I'm working. That's pretty exciting these days.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a bro.
Yeah. Not much, but it's.
Can we chat about the song a little bit?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Because I first heard the song some years back when Tish was on Austin City Limits, which was a fabulous segment. And I heard that song in the real, well, I heard some other songs too that she wrote that were just incredible. But In the Real West really stuck out to me because at the time we still had the original Mustangs and were performing a lot. So brought the song to the band, and I think it fit us really perfectly. And we always really enjoyed it. It was just a great up-tempo, very picturesque lyrical song, especially for a band from the Southwest. And so Tish, do you want to tell us how the song came about? Because I know you had success with it.
Yeah, I've had a really good run. It's still one of my favorite lady songs, and that's really sweet. I lived in New Mexico at that time. Well, actually, no, I lived in New Mexico in the 1980s, northern New Mexico, around Taos, Red River, the Enchanted Circle, as they call it. Love that. And I was new and fresh from Texas, and I didn't realize all the cultures that came together in northern New Mexico. And there was Native American, there was the old Spanish people, villages, and then you also had the cowboy culture, which was very new to me because I was a city girl from San Antonio, and I didn't really know, even though people think I was country because I was from Texas, but I was not. I was a folk singer from San Antonio. But one of the amazing things that happened there was that country music was really big. I mean, progressive country music was really big at that time in the late 70s, early 80s. And so I immediately jumped on the bandwagon of country music and playing for the dances in the local dance halls and stuff. And some of my favorite people that would come to our dances would be the Cimarron Cowboys from the Philmont Ranch, the Boy Scout Ranch, Philmont. And some of those cowboys were like the nicest people, and we became very good friends. And in particular, one very special one named Rod Taylor, who's from Lubbock, Texas. And he's also a singer-songwriter himself. But he just inspired me so much because of just who he was and how he presented the cowboy culture. And if you'll look him up, you will find him not because he's an actor or a model, but he's on their cover of many, many issues of the Western Horsemen, cowboy magazines, etc. He looks like he looks like the basic essence of the great Western cowboy. And so anyway, I kept him in mind. And for some crazy reason, once I moved back to Austin, late 80s, it was just time to kind of move my career onto a more music live town, like Austin. I always kept him in that scene in mind, and song came to my head, and I said, "Oh, this must be for Rod." I kept Rod Taylor in my head, and it's absolutely about my cowboy friends in Cimarron. And
that's fantastic.
That's my history with that, and a great story.
It's such a visual song. I think that's probably why we've always been drawn to it. There are so many things that are so, if you've ever spent any time in the West, there's so many, it's such a poetic song. I mean, I think that's probably true for a lot of your writing, but that song in particular, there are just lines that are, if you've ever done any of those things, if you've ever been in a cowboy bar, and that is how it is, and you hear the sounds, and that is what they wear, it's always a really crisp white shirt, and that the song itself has so many great images to it, to me, that stay with me, that probably stayed with me from the first time I heard it.
Thanks. And yeah, it takes me back, that was a different time, but it seems like the song continues with the fascination of, I even say in the song, I'm a city girl, but I must confess, I'd be a cowboy angel, and I know what for. Well, I know what for, but people have asked me about that line, but it's the way of life. It's the way of life in the real West. So that was my, so thanks so much for asking me to join you all today. And
thanks for coming. We really were hoping that we would do honor to your song, because we know that it's a song that that you play, and it's still part of your repertoire, but we just couldn't leave it behind, And Mark Howard, our producer, did such a great job with just the freshness of it. He made it fresh. He buried some things up, but still I feel like he did real honor to the song. And
well, that's exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, he's always so good about bringing he brought a lot of vintage gear, vintage instruments for us, and some unusual percussion, and then he's got that great tremolo guitar sound. That's such a cool retro sound for the song.
Well, it's nice to bring the song ahead a couple of decades. I mean, I wrote the song in 92 or 91, somewhere around there. So, and it was originally on my record Culture Swing on Rounder Records in 92.
Yeah.
That was nice to hear an updated and beautiful version of it. So thanks.
That album, Culture Swing, 1992. Didn't that win Indie Folk Album? I think that won Indie Folk Album of the Year.
One indie folk of, yeah, yes, it did.
Yeah.
1992.
92. I mean, that song's had a big reach.
Yeah.
And I was asking Mary, Rusty's wife, if you guys had. It sounds like you met once, maybe, and you met in Washington, but I didn't know whether musically.
Birchmere. It just popped into my head. The Birchmere in
in DC, in my hometown.
yeah, Birchmere is in not what's it?
Alexandria. It's in Alexandria.
Alexandria, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hey,
Birchmere,
Rusty.
we met a couple of years ago, Rusty.
Hey,
Well,
Tish, I mentioned Cimarron. And, the first time I heard this song, it reminded me a lot. It could have been on our Rose of Cimarron album.
yeah.
It would have-
Yes. One of my favorite songs.
That would have been good too.
yeah, it's a really cool song.
I'm happy to have it on Mustangs of the West record.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, I mentioned to Tish that there's another song, and I thought she had written it, but she informed me that she didn't, but a song that she sang, and I may have been on the same album. I don't know. I had a couple of your albums then, but it's a song that I'd love to play for the band called The Voice of the Big Guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, that is an incredible song too.
My
But,
friend Johnny Harris wrote that.
Yeah. Well, at some point I'll
He
bring
lives in
that out.
Colorado, yeah.
Your version of it. It's just gorgeous. But-
What was bound to happen, someone said that it's like the Mustangs version of the Brady Bunch. But
Oh, yeah, here we are.
I'm reading my comments. We're pretty, at least we're pretty musical, Brady Bunch, I think.
Yes. So can I just ask Tish one thing? Did you actually, I know you had some kind of history at A&M Records. Did you actually record there or no?
We did. My first, I was signed by A&M Records in 1989 or 88, and my record Homeland was my first record with them.
Oh,
That
okay.
came out in 89. And that's the song, that's the record that put me on the map.
Oh, that's so great, because that's where we recorded our album.
That's so cool. And
Right.
then I recorded a second album for them called there's a long history to Culture Swing. The first version of Culture Swing, which was produced by Booker T. Jones
Wow.
in like 1990, 91. But then they canned me as an artist after that because they went totally in the, what's her name, Janet Jackson direction. And they dropped all their folk people, folk and country people. And it was so I have an entire record that never came out. And
We need to hear that. We need a bootleg version.
Do it.
there's bootlegs of it actually was and came out in vinyl and Europe released it because they didn't hear that I had been bought the label. So every once in a while I'm in Europe and I still sign copies of it because a few thousand copies got out there. So
Oh my gosh.
Yay.
Could you self-release it now?
I think A&M owns that. I would
Forever.
have to
Whatever.
go back. I mean, I have I can re-record, but
Yeah.
of course, then I went back and recorded that record with Rounder later with a smaller budget. and that's the one that actually got known as the indie record. But yeah, it was supposed to be an A&M Records release. But
Right. So I noticed that connection. That's why I was asking you.
yeah, and Booker and I we've stayed in touch, and he was such a wonderful mentor and an amazing person, and God, what an honor to get to work with somebody like that. Anyway.
Right. I was just going to ask something to Rusty.
Yeah.
So Rusty,
Yeah.
can you tell for people like that might be your fans and don't know us, or maybe vice versa? I don't know. I think most people know you, but maybe your connection and history with our band, with Mustangs of the West.
I met Rusty in Nashville. I think it's
There you go.
where you and I first met because we have a mutual friend, singer-songwriter Michael Kelsch, and I think that's how we first met.
Yeah.
I remember meeting you, and you had a big dog.
I beg your pardon?
You had a big dog. I remember that. going over to your house. I don't know if you had just gotten the dog or not, but then I know that a lot of the recording that you guys have done, and I think you did the solo with Jack Sundred in Nashville. You guys, we sent you out the track, and then you put down a part from that. I think over at Jack's, right?
That's right. Yeah, Jack, our bass player in Poco, has a really nice studio.
Is he in Nashville, or is it just right out of town? Or is
Yeah, he's in Goodlettsville.
Oh, okay. So not too far away.
No, out there by Johnny Cash.
Yeah, which is he's in good company. Well, you and I was trying to remember when you met the rest of the band, or was it pre-Blue Elon Records?
I met him at Blue Lawn.
Yeah.
Did we do a show together somewhere?
Well, yeah, I met you at the showcase you did at the Roxy, and we talked afterwards because Kirk introduced us.
Okay. All right.
That was a great night. But then next, I'm not sure what the next step was with the band. We had to get signed first.
I think the rest of us met Rusty at I think I met Rusty for the first time at the Blue Elon holiday party 2 years ago. So that would have been, what, 18, right?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too. That's
Okay. And you were there and you played, and I brought my fiddle
18.
and jammed. I got to jam with you that night, the first night I met you. Play some
Yeah.
Rusty songs.
That's great. That was really a great night.
And then we got to hang out.
18, yes. I met you there because we had just been exactly.
Holly, you're frozen. What happened?
Yeah,
Am I frozen?
not
Repeat.
now.
Yeah, repeat what you
now.
just said.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, you know, we were there and we had just gotten signed and we were meeting everybody on the label, and people were getting up and singing a song, and Rusty got up and sang Crazy Love, and I was like, I can't believe it, man. It was so great. And the whole room joined in and sang along, and it was just really a great moment when all the artists on the labels were singing along with all of his iconic songs, and it was just like, this is so cool. It
Yeah.
was really great.
Forward to the Christmas party. It's really a fun time when everyone gets together. Everyone but
Oh,
Jerry.
yeah.
Yeah, right. No, that's so nice that Kirk Passage, our creative head of Blue Elon, does that every December. We all get together and we just have kind of a big 2 days of collaboration, and then work on some songs and the recordings that come out of that. Usually it goes to any proceeds from those go to a particular charity. It's often a children's charity. But that was, I think, the last time we were down there. We also got to, you were in the middle of writing and recording a new album. So I know that we got to hear some of those songs, and I know there's some really great songs on that album.
Oh yeah.
I was happy. I got to sing on one of them, and then Geneva and you sang on the other song that you had. So you've got Waiting on You, and then I think the other one is called Harmony. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I think they're coming out next month, or maybe it's this month. I'm not sure. I never know that stuff.
What's the album title? Rusty, are you all done? You must be.
No. We're still accumulating songs, you know, and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
we're doing them. Well, the virus really stopped everything
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
from happening.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
We
been rough.
also-
We were supposed to start a tour right when the virus happened. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
They shut the music business down, and I'm anxious to see it come back if it can.
Yeah. We all are. We all are. But we were fortunate that Kirk decided to release our album in the middle of it, you know, because it was a little dicey, you know, if that was a good idea or not. But I think, you know, people were anxious to hear new music. I think they still are. And it's, fortunately, we end up getting some great reviews. We're getting more radio play now.
Cool. Hey, well, can you see my hat? It says "Music Heals."
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So,
Well, let me play. I'll
yeah.
share screen and let's take a listen and see.
Mm.
Yep. Ah! Start over. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, the beginning's good.
Beginning.
I-
Good.
It's the way of life in the real West. Eat the prairie moonlight, seven breaths, and tall blues shuffle on a wooden floor. It's a clean white shirt on a Saturday night, and a long cool beer that's pure delight. If you heard me say it, there's a whole lot more. It's the way of life in the real West. I'm a city girl, but I must confess I'd be a cowboy angel, and I know what for. It's the way of life in the real West, where your time is yours when the sun sets. The stars rise up to light the western sky. Laredo up north to Cimarron. If I'm lost, you know I've gone to where the spurs that jingle all the working kind. It's the way of life in the real West, and if I were a man, I guess I'd ride a rope and wrangle till the day I die. It's the way of life in the real West. I'm a city girl, but I must confess I'd be a cowboy angel, and I know it for. It's the way of life in the real West, where your time is yours when the sun sets and the stars rise up to light the western sky.
Is that solo?
It's the way of life in the real West. I'm a city girl, but I must confess I'd be a cowboy angel, and I know it for. It's the way of life in the real West, where your time is yours when the sun sets. The stars rise up to light the western sky. And stars rise up to light the western sky.
Yeah, it sounded like only one channel was playing, but that's okay. That's okay.
That's okay.
It's
We got
such,
that
such a
one-
great song, and it's a great song and a great groove, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so Rusty, that just can't. It comes so naturally to you, Rusty. I mean, I remember when you recorded that, you just went in and just, I mean, we just watched, you just ripped it right off, you know. I don't know if it's just such a beautiful style for your playing and your musicianship. It's just fantastic to hear it every single time.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's in that pocket for me.
Yeah.
That's the kind. You know, I started playing when I was 6 years old, and now that
Wow.
I'm in my 30s,
Exactly.
what? Why are you laughing? It's like breathing. Playing that instrument, it's like,
Oh my
I
God.
bet. I bet.
It's like my favorite instrument. Well, guitar, of course, but pedal string, that is just like,
yeah, it's a great
Yeah.
instrument.
yeah.
Cool. What do you think? Does anybody listening want to ask any questions of Tish or of Rusty or any of us in the Mustangs?
I saw
What's
some
going-
questions float by. Did you see Rashid's question for Tish? I'm posting something, so I don't know if I can go back and look at it right
Um,
now.
I see a
Oh.
question from John Wells while you find that. He says, Rusty, is there a new Poco album coming out?
No.
In a nutshell.
Not currently. But we do have a new Rusty album that's going to be coming out, hopefully 2020. Will it be next year, this year or next year, Rusty? Do you know?
No.
Well, you know,
I know.
if it comes out, it would have to be next year.
Okay. All right.
It's not gonna be an album. People aren't doing, as I understand, people aren't doing albums much anymore as they are really one or two at a time. That's probably what I would do.
Okay. Gotcha.
You and I were talking the other day, though, when we did our little Zoom test, since you guys are out, are rural, that about touring and, you know, post-COVID-19 touring. And you mentioned that about Rick Alter, your manager, was working on some dates now, and that it looked like with clubs that they'll still have to do distancing seating, or I imagine, because I imagine that you guys probably had a lot of dates before all this came down.
Yeah, we did, and of course they're all canceled, and there are a lot of people with fingers crossed, thinking that things will pick up. But you know, I'm growing a beard.
I saw that.
Holly's growing
Me
a beard.
too.
Oh, no.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, that would be great, Rusty. That'll be great. Remember when I took a picture of the first Christmas party, I took a picture of you with the Santa hat on?
Oh yeah.
We're sitting with Jack Tempchin. And so if you keep growing that beard, you know, by December.
I'll be able to play Santa Claus. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
I also wanted to mention that we recorded a Poco song on Tryon. Somebody has
All right.
volume on. Maybe you can mute it, but we recorded "Keep on Trying." That was one of Poco's great songs. That Rusty, you had originally sung that, right?
No, actually, that's a Timothy B. Schmidt song.
Oh,
Which,
okay. Yeah.
Which was recorded in the which reminds me of the last time I was talking to 6 women at the same time was probably the 70s. But no, actually, it was Timothy B. I think was talking to 6 women at the same time.
But we did that for a special album that you did. A number of the Blue Line artists did that.
Yeah.
For an album that was for your wife's dog rescue, or you and Mary's.
Right. Yeah.
Listen to your heart. Was
Right.
the-
Right.
Yeah.
right.
Listen, yeah. I wrote a new song that Kirk was gracious enough to donate all the proceeds from it to this. We're building a new dog pound, and that's me. I'm not here.
Hello.
So, hey.
Well, you know where I am. Go ahead and tell them, about the shelter that you and Mary are working on.
Well, yeah, we're working on raising enough money to build a new shelter in the little town where we live, where they had a pretty pathetic, shelter, and that whole situation. We're trying to make that work, and so we take money at concerts, and we take money anytime people want to give us money, and we're gonna make it better for the dogs around here.
How can people find out about that, Rusty?
Uh-oh. Hey, Mary, how can people go to the website, she says.
And what is that website name? I know.
Poco Band.
Oh, Poco Band, and you'll have it on there.
Yes.
Well, I saw one of the people who made a comment, Joe Nicosia. He said how much he loved your last album, and he also said, I have tickets for Poco Firefall. It looks like February 2021. So is that show a Florida show?
I think it is, yeah. I think we have a couple of shows around the first of the year in Florida. But, everything's on hold. We'll see.
Yeah, I know everything is kind of subject to, I guess, what happens over the next few months, how people are feeling.
Yeah, and it's tough because, as you know, if you don't sing, if I'm not going to sing for 6 or 8 months at a time, and singing, you can sing around the house, but that's not the same as singing in a concert situation. If you don't sing for 6 or 8 months, it might not be something you're going to be able to do again at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, gotta have to have rehearsals, all of that stuff. How how do you guys, or how have you guys been staying in touch during all of this?
We're doing the same thing we're doing right now. We do the Facebook, talk to each other thing every couple of weeks. That's about it. I'd like to drive to Nashville and see the guys, but I'm staying in. I'm staying away from everyone as much as I can.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, so we know more as much as possible. We have a little, if I can bring it up here, we have just a very short clip from the recording session.
Oh,
that
cool.
Maybe you all would like to for a second. Yeah, it's short. And let me make sure I can just jump to it like I had meant to before.
Do you know if
yeah.
there's any toilet paper?
Wow. That's
Huh?
someone's cleaning.
You guys, if you turn down your audio, it helps because we're hearing a lot of stuff, but not anyway. Let me see if I can do this. And
while you get that going, I just in the comments
I got it right.
someone, Walt, it looks like Jemin said he just wanted to say how much he has loved, not a question, but a comment. Huge thanks to Rusty for so many years of great music, longtime Poco fan. And thanks for introducing me to Mustangs of the West. So,
Nice.
Aw,
Nice.
sweet. Okay, here goes. Let's see if you can see this.
Okay.
Woo.
Jerry, did you share?
Are we supposed to see it?
Yeah. Did you share?
I see nothing. Maybe she doesn't see us.
Sherry,
Yeah.
we don't see it.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let me try once more. Sorry about that. Damn, we've got our shared screen going, right, Suze?
Yeah, I think once you start it, just hit share. Should be able to have it queued up.
I did.
Yeah, be able to share.
Let's see. You guys
There
tell me.
we go.
There it is.
Okay, okay, here we go.
That's it.
Woo. Nice. High tech.
Okay, I know it's just a tease, but that was when we were recording in the big studio, which is where we did it in Studio A at Henson Studios, the former A&M, that apparently Tish is familiar with as well. And and Aubrey unfortunately wasn't there. She had to do overdubs because she was on tour with Shooter Jennings. So we missed her for that. And then Rusty, of course, added his part later on. But you can kind of hear, how we were playing together live. And, for my part, Mark had, suggested the tremolo guitar sound, went through a Vox AC30 with my Telecaster, which was really cool. And unfortunately, it didn't get to the part where you hear Holly's yodel, but you do get to hear it on the record.
Pretty much nails it every single time.
Yes.
So, Tish, what is on? How has all of the shelter in place affected you and the times that you get out and play? And I know we were Blue Elon and a lot of us Blue Elon artists were supposed to come and play South by Southwest. We were all planning to come to Austin, and everybody looks forward to that. It's a highlight. And of course, that like everything else got canceled. And what's on for you for 2021, or do you feel like a lot of it is still up in the air?
Well, it's yeah, that was a huge blow to Austin,
Oh, completely.
Southwest. But it was such a smart idea because things would have gotten, it was like right in the middle of where they had to shut everything down. And had people come from all over the world to Austin, in the middle of March, that would have been devastating for the world, really, because people come from everywhere. So it was a very smart decision on Austin's part to cancel South by Southwest, as hard as it was. And it's funny to live in the live capital of the world, and we're not really having live music. Like everything's virtual now, and a few bars have opened up, of course, but it's just not the same when you have to sit 6 feet away from people, and
I mean,
you don't want to encourage crowds, and it's hard to be a live musician. I haven't really been out to play anywhere, but I've been doing virtual things. I do my own Facebook show on my webpage at 5 o'clock on Fridays.
oh, very cool. Everybody hear that.
I've been doing that, and this afternoon, in like an hour here, I've got what I've been busy with is I formed a group with 2 other fellow Mexican American well-known singer-songwriters from Texas, Patricia Vaughn and Stephanie Urbina Jones, and we're the Texarkana Mamas. And
Nice.
we started a couple of years ago. We have played theaters. We've gotten really great responses. We're going to have our big record release this summer. Yeah, but we're still releasing some singles. Our first single is going to be out at the end of this month. And
What's the name of it?
it's called Cocina de Amor.
Oh,
Love. We're going to have a wacky video with people from all around the world sending us videos of them, because we couldn't really do the actual live music video. So we're each in our own kitchens, and then we have friends and family and fans that we have around the globe between the 3 of us, sending us in like 20 and 30-second videos of them cooking in their kitchens with the family. So
Nice.
that is
celebration of family,
cool.
having
I
to
can
be,
make toast and coffee.
hey, anything in the kitchen, send it
About it.
send it into us. So anyway, I've been busy with Texarkana Mamas and hoping that our record's going to be released in August. And it's a really good record, and it's we're all songwriters and we all care deeply about our culture, and we're all San Antonio natives and are bilingual, and so both the Mexican culture and our American and country culture. Stephanie is a national songwriter.
Yeah.
So we have both Patricia Vaughn, who has a very heavy Hispanic. Her brother is Robert Rodriguez, who is the producer of all those famous films, and they have a long line of really standing up for their Mexican community and doing a lot of community stuff. And so all 3 of us are activists as well as singer-songwriters. So the record is kind of a balance of fun, family, kind of Texas Tornadoes type stuff.
Yeah. Oh, which I love.
But we dig a little deeper, and we have some songs that are about culture and about immigrants and about the border issues and stuff like that too. So it's an interesting record, and we look forward to releasing it. But in the meantime, we're going to release 3 singles over the course of the summer that are representative of what we're doing. So anyway, I'm going to have them on my show today.
Oh, cool.
Just kind of doing
Fantastic.
virtual chatting and talking about the record and singing a cappella, because we can't coordinate on Zoom. It's like, everything's kind of a little bit off. So
Yeah, we've been kind of wrestling with that and looking at ways that we might be able to all play. Yeah, it's just that ironing out the tech part of it.
well, you'd have to spend money and have them really like what I see. You see a lot of people on TV doing but I think they've been sent to a studio where they line them up and then produce the thing, because you really just can't do it like this. But we're trying our best.
Yeah, and that's on your page, and it's at 5 today.
On my band page, I've got my personal page and on my band page. So just find the one where find it. So anyway, it's at 5 o'clock. 3 o'clock y'all time, and just join in. You'll see the 3 of us, and I do it every Friday with my
Fantastic.
or with I have guests on sometimes too.
Tish, John Wells has a question for you. He said, is Tish's Urban Campfire still hosting shows in San Antonio?
Unfortunately, Urban Campfires ended like maybe a couple of years ago. I'm not sure exactly why, but it was a very good coffee house occasion in San Antonio. And there hasn't really been another one that really pops up as good as that one. So I mean, there's a few smaller ones, but anyway. Now, all of us are probably facing a lot of the same situation where a lot of the clubs that we will play, either locally or on tour sometimes, are like, even the Birchmere, even clubs like the Birchmere in Alexandria, they've probably had to change their format so much, because anything that's not an arena, you can't, like, if it's 100-person club, or usually we play these nice intimate, like the Bluebird in Nashville, for instance.
Yeah.
You can't really do anything there because you can't really keep a social distance in places like that. So I think the entire face of what we like to do and what we do and how we present ourselves is really kind of changed for the indefinite future.
Yeah.
So,
hopefully it won't be too indefinite. I mean, people have to get back to being able to be together and listen to music and the energy that you get when you play live music. So
we'll have to lean on our scientists, because science is going to save us, because we need a vaccine.
Yeah, we keep on hearing people are working on it, so
it'll come back. It'll come back.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say the other thing with our band is that, even though we say we're an LA-based band and we all used to live here, we don't. Holly is out in DC, in Virginia area, and Susanna, our lead singer, is up in Northern California, and even our drummer is down in Orange County, and Aubrey and I live close together, but she's on tour a lot with, normally with Shooter Jennings, and but for this time, it's not like, even if we could, that we could just all get in the same room together. So we have some challenges. That's why we started Mustang Monday, where we all get on. So far, we've talked about a song a week from the album, and we kind of pre-record our videos in our respective homes or studios. And then we decided to add this Friday as a follow-up Friday, or a Fantastic Friday. And that's how this came about. But that's what we're doing. We did a live at home, or we did a live sheltering at home. It was called Cabin Fever for Blue Elon Records. We did one of the songs on the album, and we'll probably put it up on YouTube to so more people can see it, because we only played it like 1 week. So anyway, watch for that.
Rusty, what guitars do you have back there? I'm just admiring your room.
Oh, behind me?
Yeah, when you said you started playing at 6, but I'm guessing you started playing guitar.
No, actually, I started playing lap steel guitar. They hadn't invented pedal steels at that point, but they did have cars. Actually, they had cars.
Oh my God!
But no, that
30 years ago. Yeah, when you were 6.
The guitar.
Yeah.
This over here, it's a '68 Martin, and then the middle is a Dobro. Over here is a really cool guitar. Can you see that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a Gruen guitar. He only made them for a few years, and Jimmy Messina gave it to me. He bought about 6 of them or something.
Oh my God!
Gave one to Randy, and
Wow.
and I have every signature of everyone in Poco. It had Randy Meisner and Richie and Jimmy and Paul, Timothy B. Has everybody's signature on it. And if it ever comes about that Poco's inducted into the Hall of Fame, I want to give them that guitar for their display. So that's a real important guitar. I have a bunch of important guitars, some steel guitars too. I have the last handmade Showbud by
No way.
that he gave me in 1978. Yeah,
Wow.
really cool custom guitar with our Poco logo. And so I have a few things that I've saved over the years that are neat guitars.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one. I mean, so given your preference, what's your favorite instrument to play?
Steel guitar.
I mean,
Yeah, the pedal steel is just like I said, it's like breathing. It's just it's a part of me, and it's such a beautiful instrument that I really love playing it.
And what type do you play? I mean, what brand or what?
Well, I have all kinds of, I've got a half a dozen old showbuds, and I have MCIs and all this kind of stuff. But on stage, I play a Carter. I have a few Carter guitars too. And unfortunately, John, Carter is no longer with us, but he made great guitars, great traveling guitars, because they're lightweight. And so the airlines has a hard time breaking them.
Nice.
That's good because they do try. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
They're just trying to help. They're just trying to help us make better guitars. If we can just
Yes.
improve the durability. So every flight is just a test of what can a guitar stand.
No, time when they called me in 1968 to come out and play on the Buffalo Springfield's Last Time Around record, I lived in Denver, and I flew out to LA and, flew my guitar out to LA, got to the studio, the same day, went into the studio, and Steven and Neil and Richie and Jimmy were all there, set up my steel guitar. And when I opened up the case, the airline had broken the pickups out of the guitar. The pickups were no longer part of the guitar. So this was like the biggest thing in the world for me, playing for the Buffalo Springfield on their record, because I was a huge fan and it was a big deal. And all of a sudden I had no instrument because the airline broke it. And 1968 in Los Angeles, you couldn't exactly call somebody up and say, "Can I rent a pedal?" There weren't any pedal steels around. So
what did you do? What did you end up doing?
well, it's really lucky. Jimmy said, "You know what? Steven Stills has always wanted to learn to play pedal steel." And he got one from Showbud. I think it's in the closet over here. And so we went to the closet, and sure enough, there was a Showbud pedal steel. Fortunately,
that's incredible.
it was set up backwards from the way I play it, because there's two different systems. So I ended up playing it backwards on that record, which was an interesting thing to try and have.
Oh my God.
I feel like that would be like someone handing you a left-handed fiddle that's like strung the opposite direction. And I feel like a beginner all over again. Having to do that on a session that you were really excited about would be like horrible.
Oh, it was so, I was just heartbroken when I first saw that, I wasn't going to be able to play my, and then I did the best I could on his guitar. So it all worked out.
You know that, Rusty, that you were the Poco, it went by pretty quickly, but the new Laurel Canyon documentary that I think it was Don Henley being, it was either Don Henley or Bernie Ledden being interviewed, and they did being one of their influences to form the Eagles.
Jackson and Glenn, Glenn and their other opened a couple of shows for us at the Troubadour there in LA, in early like 89, before they had a band, before Glenn had met Don Henley. But those shows, they were great. And all those guys, like I said, Jackson and Henley and all those guys were in the audience, picking up chicks and having a good time when we were playing it was so bad for Jackson and Brown, because, he had such a hard time with women. It was just,
I bet.
Yeah, girls, they didn't like him at all. And
Such a shame.
Right.
I didn't know Rusty had such a dry sense of humor. Like, seeing a whole new side.
pretty dry, but I'm working on it.
So do we have any other, we probably should mention too, before we go, do we have other questions?
I don't see any other ones that are just a lot of people showing their appreciation to you, and we appreciate you too. And I just hope that we can do a lot more collaborating in the future. And we are honored with every note you play. So thank you.
Well, I have
a question.
Sure, we will. And I did record a song with Susanna, so
right.
That'll be.
That's gonna. And that one, that's probably all. That one probably is finished and mixed. Yeah, waiting on you.
Yes, yeah, it is, and I. So it should be out shortly. So.
That was one of the. That track had so much great energy to it. That was one of those songs. Where did you write those two new songs for your album, the upcoming? Did you write that in Nashville?
No, Here at the cabin.
You wrote them in the cat. Well, the cabin must have good vibes for writing.
It has really good vibes. Here's out the window from my studio. Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
I'd never go inside.
That's great.
Ozark, right? It's beautiful.
Unless it got really,
So it's pretty
really hot.
inspiring.
Wow.
Pretty damn inspiring.
Okay, now you've made us all jealous. Thank you, Rusty.
Yay.
You're welcome.
Very good.
Well, thanks.
Well,
for inviting-
Aubrey, did you have a question? Aubrey had
Oh.
a question, right?
Yeah, okay. Hey, okay. Well, I don't know. I don't want to put him in a corner or anything, but I was wondering, since you've known all these kind of iconic artists and singer-songwriters through your years doing music and being in Poco, like, who did you like hanging out with the most back then? I mean, I'm sure you loved hanging out with everybody, but was there like, who was your buddy? Like your hangout tour buddy back then?
Yeah. Oh, there were. You know, the one I missed the most that I hang out
What
with is
is
Phil
the
Hartman.
restaurant? Sorry, Rusty, can't hear a thing. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I used to love hanging out with Phil Hartman. He and I on all the artwork. Excuse me. Phil did the artwork for Crosby, Stills and Nash, America, and Poco through the 70s. And Phil was just a hoot. I mean, he was a hoot before he became famous. And he was a fun guy to hang out with. One of the things I remember the most is that when answering machines used to be, we had answering services back in Hollywood. And, you know, it'd be some person who would take the messages and you'd come home and you'd call them up and say, what are my messages? And they'd say, well, so-and-so called. But then they came up with this new thing called an answering machine. And everyone was just blown away, these little cassette answering machines. And Phil got one, and you could record a message on it, say, you know, hi, this is Rusty, you know, leave a message and I'll get back to you. Phil would do it, but he would do it, he'd answer the phone as Johnny Carson or Jack Nicholson or Jack Benny. And so the funniest thing was people got into, they started calling his answering machine just to hear the message that Phil would put down on, hi, this is Johnny Carson, and Phil's, you know, that kind of thing. And so at one point, his machine was so backed up because, you know, people would tell everyone else, you got to call Phil's number. And so it would run out of, you know, messages because so many people would call to hear Phil's answering machine.
So
and
great.
that was before he, and it was, yeah, it was just, that was so typical of Phil. He was a really cool guy and we had lots of fun together. So I miss him a lot.
That's awesome. Thank you. Could I ask one more
Sure.
question of Tish? Actually, I was wondering about, I guess it's in the Real West or the Real West, whatever it is. How did that song, how long did that song take you? I mean, do you feel like from the time you started the idea till you went, it's finished, I can record it now? Was it one of those downloads that happened, or was it kind of a process over time?
Oh, I mean, I wrote the song quickly. And as soon as I got the idea, it just kind of poured out. So
Uh-huh.
the same day, same afternoon or whatever. But the process of getting it on the record was different because I wrote the song like in 91 for the original Culture Swing that Mr. T produced. And then it had to sit like in my pocket for another year and a half or so when I signed with Rounder Records. So, you know, but the writing of the song was pretty fast and really fun. I mean, I love it. I love it when songs come that way. So
Wow. No, me too. And I really love the melody in that song. I mean, when Sherry played it for me, I'd never heard it before. And she, you know, she's the one that wanted us to consider it for the record. And I went, oh, I'm in. I love this. It makes you feel so good. There's just something about it. And even though, like you said, you're a city girl, but you're getting this perspective on this other way of life. I was born in the city, but then I grew up in the country, and then I moved back to the city. And I think maybe there's just something about that in this song that kind of speaks to the heart of being someone who really just loves that way of life. And for me, it's a state of mind. It's, you know, thank you.
I want to make sure that everybody knows I'm not an expert and I'm not really even a horse lady. I like horses. I think they're beautiful, but I'm a little bit afraid of them. And the horses always know that. So
They
They
do.
really do.
I
Yeah.
tend to get the horse that always wants to like start acting up. I'm going, no. But
Funny how that works. No, but I think you did capture the spirit. You know, you don't have to know how to rope or ride or any of that. I
I
think.
admire it. I admire that way of life very much. So I want to do a little quick shout out, if y'all don't mind, to my friend Rod Taylor, who has been a lifelong friend, inspired the song, and he has a band in northern New Mexico called the Rifters. They're a cowboy trio, and
Oh,
they're just wonderful. They have some beautiful records, and their songwriting and their singing and their harmonies is so great. So anyway, look up the Rifters, and
nice.
they're
nice.
so cool. And you know, around Taos, Alamosa, Colorado, that northern Mexico, you know. So anyway, just a little shout out to them because they're musicians that are really dear friends and really so good. So
And cowboys, sounds like.
cowboys, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, what Aubrey
I'm
brought,
going to ask you what is because that question, what is your, of course, hard to answer, but what's the most favorite song you've ever written, Rusty Young?
Me?
Guitar room.
You know, I have like 3 favorite songs. Rose of Cimarron, I think, was a gift. As a songwriter, you guys know what that is when you just get a gift, and it's a song that will last it'll live longer than I will. And of course, Crazy Love, you know, which was a huge song, million selling and all that kind of stuff, and it still pays the rent. And a new song that's on my solo record called. What's it called? I forget what it's called. My Friend.
Oh.
oh yes, it's beautiful.
Oh,
I love that about the 50 years I've been in this band, and all the guys, the special people like Randy Meisner and Timothy and Jimmy Messina is my best friend. And it's a song talking about going through the 50 years and when we were little kids and we were starting out. I think I was 21 when we started Poco, and in my 30s, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
A long time ago. But those 3 songs, they're like children. Those are my 3 favorites.
Yeah, the song, they do feel like children, and you want them to be out there in the world and live and breathe. And boy, I mean, Crazy Love has probably seen a lot of people get married.
Yes.
I
Yes,
bet people write to you about that.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. But that's the neatest thing about what we do, is the fact that you can create something like that has impact on people's lives. And over the years, I mean, that was released in 78, 79. And to think about all these years later and the impact it's had, that's a really special thing we get to do. And when we do it right, it's really, really rewarding, magical.
Yeah, it is, because those songs, like you said, they have a life, and then they end up they're carried through. They mean so many. They're kind of, in a lot of ways, they're benchmarks for people's lives. Like, oh yeah, I remember when I heard that song, I remember exactly what I was doing and where I was. So
Right.
yeah, I'm sure people tell you that all the time about that song, especially.
Yes. Yeah, it's really great. It's really great. I'm very fortunate. It's to have a song that reaches #1 and that kind of thing, sells millions of records, is such a great gift. It's so, the fact that I have one of those is something that blows my mind. It's just it's so hard to come by. Everybody knows,
yeah.
and to have that is so special. I enjoy playing it every night. I never get tired of it, because it was such an important thing. It always reminds me, though, of when we were doing the Rose of Cimarron tour and we were in Europe. The label threw this big party for us in the what do they call that room at the top of the building at the Plaza, or the Ritz was in Paris.
Oh,
And penthouse, that's it. How do you know about penthouses?
Movies. I don't go in them.
So they threw this party for us, and we were all jet lagged and everything, and we got in at 3 a.m. and the party was already over. And the champagne glasses or bottles are turned over in the ice chest, and everyone's passed out and all that kind of stuff. So that's when I got to the party, and it just so happened that Tom Fogerty came in. He was at the same hotel, and Tom and I were friends because we played a lot with Creedence Clearwater in the mid 70s. And we're sitting at the table. We're the only ones left in this, smoky, penthouse. And Tom says, I'm quitting. I'm quitting Creedence Clearwater. And I said, Tom, you got to be kidding. They were the biggest band in the world. He was making like millions of dollars. And Tom, bless his heart, didn't really sing. He didn't write. He played rhythm guitar. And he's making, he did da 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 da. And I said, Tom, I think you're quitting Creed. Why in the world would you, at the top, why would you quit Creedence Clearwater? And he said, you know what? If I have to play Proud Mary one more time, I'm going to kill myself.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, gee, if I had a song like, can you imagine having a song like Proud Mary that you play in your set, or having written it? And so every night we play, and I told him, I said, listen, if we had a hit like that, I'd do what Hank Williams used to do with Your Cheating Heart. He would open with it. He'd play it in the middle of his set. He would close with it. And then if he score, he'd play Your Cheating Heart. And I told Tom that. And so, we'd never had a hit. So when we did, it was such a blessing, but I always think of him when people asking, do you ever get tired of playing that? No, and I wish it was Proud Mary.
What a great story.
Good.
Yeah.
Well,
Good problem to have.
So much for joining us for this.
Thank you. Thank you, Tish.
And-
Thank you,
Thank
Rusty.
you all so much. And I
One
wish
thing that we can go out playing the song again for people who missed it, I think. And also just one little plug for Mustangs of the West. If you want to have your own copy of In the Real West plus the other 11 songs, please go to our website, Mustangs of the West. We have CDs and t-shirts and water bottles, everything that we got ready for our tour that wasn't. And so if you'd like
I
to.
posted the link in the stream, so.
Our merch.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. Thanks.
Oh yeah, and the pinned there's a pinned comment that has all of Tish's pages and her website, and the Texarkana Mamas is there. I put that there, and then I have
Thanks.
Rusty's info is there, and then our merch store is there. So in the pinned comments, it might still be pinned. It is. You can find all that.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Aubrey. So, all right.
Thanks, everybody. Really great time today.
And let's hear the song again. And
We'll see
hopefully,
you soon, Rusty.
and we'll see you all for Mustang Mondays.
Come to your house, Russ.
Yes. We'll see you Monday at noon Pacific time, 3 o'clock Eastern time for Mustang Mondays.
And we'll be doing another Friday as well for This Is Me Leaving, hopefully with the writer Renee Armand.
Okay, fantastic.
Tune in at 5
Okay.
for Tish's show.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Rusty.
Join us.
Bye, Tish.
Nice
Bye,
to meet you.
y'all.
Rusty.
Love
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.